Alright, hi everyone. Just doing a first video here. Still learning how to use Twitch Studios. Just spent probably like half an hour just trying to figure out how to upload a video to my Twitch video reproducer. Lots of fun that was. But anyway, I'm here. I'm Mike. I'm a nurse. I'm gonna practice learning some chess and make lots of mistakes, and hopefully you guys enjoy it along the way. Yeah, I'm really just an intermediate player. I thought I'd start us off with some puzzles, see how that goes. Teach you how my thought process kind of works, and hopefully you guys get something from it. And if not, then hopefully in 10 years when I'm not as terrible as I used to be, then I'll look back at this fondly, smile, and make fun of myself. But anyway, here's how this goes. So I am black. Let's see. So first things you always look for position and exposure of the king. So I obviously see the queen is here. Can't attack that rook because it is protected by the king. I noticed that the queen is actually on an opposite color complex to my queen, so I should be able to move pretty easily diagonally, noting that this square is well defended by all of these lovely little knights here. I do see that I have a check, and I also see that I have this attack, which will give me an X-ray target here. So, I think I see the solution to this puzzle. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this rook. The king will be forced to take it because it is in check. Then we will put this bishop over here, which will be another check, and opening up a threat to the queen. And total count for us means we will lose this lovely little queen here, or queen and rook. So I believe that to be the solution of this puzzle, and hopefully you guys learned from my thought process there. Let's have a look. Let's see if we're right. Looks like we are perfect. Okay, 2066. Let's see. What do we have happening here? First of all, we're white. There's this obvious threat going on. Now, if we can actually deflect this rook off, say it's just not there. Say it's just like not there. Just imagine no rook there. If we were actually able to get this queen on the back rank, that would be mate. First, this rook would come in, of course. Okay, let's work on some colors. I'm really learning how to do lead chess here. Isn't that great? And then you take, and then you have mate. So, second thought I had is noticing that I have this battery lined up with my rook. So I was just gonna see how that would pan out. But okay. So how would that pan out? If I I think I see it. So my first thought was okay. So then why don't I do this, knowing that if my queen gets taken, my rook can come in and then deliver that final blow. Problem being, if my queen goes here, then there's going to be the rook right back to there, and then I'm kind of in a bad situation. So we're going to do a little modification of that because we would have two attackers, 1, 2, and one defender. So even if I took with check, then the other rook would come and take it. I'd just be down a queen. Not so bad if it was the other way around, but my rook is unfortunately not in front. So let's try this other plan here, where let's see. Same sort of thought's gonna happen. Where, okay. Instead of obviously this square right in front of us, we're gonna sacrifice this queen over here for that rook. That's again gonna give a forced check, and there's only two legal moves in that position. One being bishop to take, the other being to rook to interpose. So if rook interposes, we just step over and checkmate. If bishop takes, then we can bring this rook down, and now there's only one legal move, rook to interpose, rook takes rook, and checkmate. So let's see what it was that I just all explained in here. Okay, check. Check. Checkmate. Okay, what are we looking at here? Okay. So, we have pawn endgame. So, what I look for in here, you kind of want to see weaknesses in the pawns. You want to see the strength of structures. See if you have any pass pawns. So anywhere, first thing I see is I've got two pawns that have nothing in front of them. Can they get down? No, because there are these pawns that are defending. Comme ça. That is French for like this, or something like that. I'm sure my French friends are going to tell me off. Okay, so the next question would be, can we deflect one of these pawns? A pretty common maneuver is to put one of these up, and then put another one of these up, and then if the pawn takes, then you have a free, happy little pawn that's able to go by, and if not, then this one will be able to march down the road all the way. Unfortunately, okay, I don't know why these keep going back, but oh, that's why. Scroll wheel is on my mouse. There's pawns on both sides. These ones here that are preventing us from just walking it down. So, what is our game plan then? Sometimes a little trick, and I don't know if this is a little bit of a cheat in a puzzle, is you hit the view solution. No, I'm obviously don't view the solution. You want to look at the last move and say, okay, so the king moves over here, and what is it that that changes about the situation that we couldn't deal with before? Well, first of all, if the king had gone down there targeting this pawn, we would have been able to come all the way up and take everything in the middle, potentially create a pass pawn. I could do the counting and see if that would work, but it's not the case right now, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, so what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? The other thing that's interesting is my king only has backwards movements because the pawn and the king and my own pawn block everything else. So if I move backwards, this king is going to move forward and it will have infiltrated. So maybe that is our solution, is we want to, yeah, so force it into zugzwang. So then, which is a chess term, which basically means that they have no good moves. Any move that they make will actually make their position worse. I think that's probably what it's going to be. So if you notice, their king also cannot move here, cannot move here, which are the only two squares it could possibly go to that would protect this pawn. So if I can keep my king in the same square and get his to move, then I should be in a pretty good situation to just gobble up some pawns and send one down to the end. So let's start by doing this. Okay. Obviously we have the correct idea. So, next question is, do we take? If we take, then we have another similar problem. The king takes, we're no better off. So, rather than snap take, I want to see if there's a better move. So, first thing I want to calculate is if I push this pawn instead. If I push this pawn, that pawn can take, this pawn can take, and it's still not going to be clear to victory because we still have that pawn hanging out there. So that's no good. Unless, you know, we can, again, worry about deflecting the king away from these pawns, which is possible that if I go here, if I get the pawn over to here, this pawn can't move up, these two can't move, that one can't move, the king would have to move away and I could slowly walk my king in. So that very well could be the solution. The other thing that I want to try and consider is allowing him to take me. So if I do this king is going to move here, and yeah, it doesn't look that great. So I believe that to be the correct solution. Oh, interesting, interesting, interesting. I just assumed he would take there. I mean, obviously he doesn't have to. So again, king cannot move on any of these lovely little squares. His king can't. So it's going to be forced to step back from this pawn eventually. So there it is. Now we can just take our pawn. Easy win. Okay, so best move for black. Okay, first thing I notice. Okay, queen here is defending this pawn. King again is lined up for a back rank checkmate. I think this is going to be a fairly straightforward one. Where? Okay, so the first thing I think of is, wouldn't it be nice for me to get one of these pieces on the back rank here to hit the king and not have this annoying little rook in the way? Obviously, I can't just drop a queen up because rook takes and I'm just screwed. So what we're going to do is we're going to, yeah, I think I know what it is. Another sort of the next thought I had was, can my queen take this rook? No, because king takes, and then if my rook moves down, he has an escape square. So that's not checkmate. Always want to look for those checkmates first. And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes these puzzles are not about getting a checkmate, it's just about getting a better position. Because if you look, we are, what? We both have queen and rook. I have 4 pawns, he has 6, he's winning, so bit of a material imbalance. And he has all of these pass pawns, which can all just walk down and become queens. So we still have 2 steps before he actually makes it. So what we're going to do is, instead of using the queen to get this rook out of the way, what would happen if we put this rook here? Now guarded by the queen. If he does not take that, then my queen can just move in and checkmate. I mean, I'm assuming that one of these pawns would step forward and give the king an escape square, but we can hunt him around. Either way, we'd be up a rook. I'd be able to swing back around, prevent this pawn from making it to the end. We would have a happy little day. Ooh, I gotta be careful for checks over here too. Next kind of thought about that is, so if he does take me, then I can take him into checkmate. So, more likely, what's going to happen is this queen is going to come up here to try and deflect my queen away from my rook. He'll take the rook, and we'll be just in a winning position. Threatening everything, winning everything, be good to go. Like I said, it is possible that I will get onto the back rank with both my pieces having taken this rook and then him pushing one of these pawns out to make an escape square for the king, and this pawn may just try and push its way to victory. That is a possibility. I don't believe he has time to do that. So anyway, let's see if we're right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, an intermezzo move. So we're just going to take that queen and win. Okay. This is tricky. So first thing, obviously, I think about it is that I can take that knight. It's right there for me. You can take my bishop. That's fine because I get my king out. He's in front, and I have a very good, strong chance of being able to push this king back on my way to get one of these pawns promoted. Here's the problem. I get my king to that square, and this pawn promotes. So, gotta be a bit more careful than that. How are we gonna do this? Because as soon as this king steps outside of this box right here, we're gonna have a problem. That pawn will make it to the end. So what you do to kind of find the size of this box is kind of important. If you count how many squares are in front of this pawn. So there's 2 squares in front of it. So you count out 2 squares out to the side, and you just make your little box like that. If your king is unable to step into that box, it cannot stop the pawn from promoting. Fun fact. So normally you'd say, well, Michael, you're here, you can step into that box. Yes, but here's the problem. Is the next move would be that his pawn would move up. Now the box is smaller, it comes into being here. And now I cannot step into the box, that pawn will promote. So we need to figure out how to make arrows go away faster. What to do from there. The initial idea might not be wrong, because this is a very strong pawn structure. That king is not going to be able to get in and break that up. These pawns are not going to be able to pass this whole structure of mine here. It's just way too strong. In fact, the king basically almost can't break in at all on that side. He has almost no way of getting through. Realistically, the only feasible way they could even consider getting through if we just totally locked the position, no knight, no bishop, would almost have to be here, take, getting that down. But even then. Or trying to march this king somehow all the way around. Not going to happen. So we're playing for a win. We know we have basically as much time as we want to get our king to wherever we want to, pick off pawns, do what we got to do. So let's do that. But instead of taking this pawn, we can get that whenever we want. Let's go for this other pawn. Nailed it. Okay. Sip of wine. It's French wine from somewhere. French. Not Quebec. Actually, could be Quebec. Problem with me with this wine was I couldn't figure out what it tasted like. Like, it didn't say if it was a Merlot, a Chardonnay, nothing, no hints of whatever. There was a little bit of French text on it, but nothing that I recognized. So basically what I know is it's a red. It was recommended. It's a blend. 14.5% may taste like a Merlot. Who knows? The Lickbo workers seem to think it was a good idea, but I'm enjoying it. Did you know a glass of red wine is supposedly equal to an hour workout for your heart? Fun fact. So with this puzzle, where are we at? Oh, we've already got 5 correct. So I'd like to try and make 10. 10 correct in this video. See how my thinking goes. They all say get 10 right puzzles in a day. Let's do that. Okay. So black's king is in the corner. Whenever you have a king that's just in the corner like this, they are usually very, 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 very susceptible to checkmates. Like, you can practically walk a single piece in and get the job done. So first thing I look for is checks. I have a check right there. I have a check right there. If this knight's out of the way, I have a check right here. And also, yeah, so if the knight does move to this square, king's only move would be to move up. If his only move is to move up, then if we were to move, I don't know, rook up to here, we'd be able to swing it over and this would be checkmate. I mean, realistically, they're going to sack the rook for the knight. The pawn will come in, check. That'll go here. May get this one wrong. Also keeping in mind that I have this back rank check coming in. No, not when the queen is defending. They would have this, and that rook could come here or to here, and then we could get into some sort of ladder mate situation, which could be a problem. But again, we have knight defending partially, but it's also hanging. Jeez, I have a lot of pieces hanging. Rook, knight, these. Anyway, I'm very confident that this is the right move. Yep. Okay, so the next one is gonna just be a question of how do we follow up. Sometimes it's fun to get a just little fancy checkmate and just try and get another knight up into a spot where we could check the king, because the king has no moves. This is blocked, that's blocked. This is a pawn, this is another piece in front of that there. So if we could just land a check in there, he's checkmate. So the places we could get a knight to checkmate him would be here, here, and here. Both of these are defended by the pawn, so we're going to eliminate those as possibilities. And this one is pretty far. I would have to To get to here, I would have to... Geez, where would I have to come from here? Yeah, so I'd have to do like some sort of nonsense to get around to... maybe do it in 3 moves. That might have been a more circuitous route than entirely necessary, but... Okay, so we're going to just eliminate that knight as a possibility. So I really think the rook is our only real option here because the queen, queen coming in just is a check, and the king recaptures, and then he's free. So I have a feeling we bring the rook up. We're threatening mate, so they have to do something reckless to prevent mate. What will it be? Probably sack a piece, although a human player would probably just try and give a perpetual check. Do something like this, then like this. My king going here, and then being checkmated. That seems strange. Queen can't go there because, rook would still be defending. So, queen can't go there. Queen can't go here. Queen can go here. Does that do anything for them after my king comes up? No, because it can just hide over here. Even after bishop comes in. Still a winning situation for us. So let's try it out. We were incorrect, so let's see what they wanted us to do. Really? They wanted us to sacrifice our queen so that king can recapture, and then we get the check. And that is checkmate. That's the problem. So another kind of common idea is knight and rook. Rook covers the squares that the knight doesn't, so around the king, this, this and this are prevented. Knight prevents what? Here and here. And then the pawn does the rest of the work. Pretty cool checkmate pattern if you ask me. Okay, here we go, here we go. What do we got? Oh, okay, this one looks pretty easy to me. We can just take this queen. Nice and easy. Always look at those big, they're right in your face, those attacks. Some of you may think, oh, we can't take the queen because of nice defending. Right? That's just queen for queen. That's not a winning puzzle. Okay, so knight takes it. Okay, now we have moved this knight out of the way of this bishop. And this rook is now also attacking it. So the rook will come down, give a check. They will be forced to recapture because otherwise I'm just going to take that piece. And then my bishop comes in. We will be up a piece. It'll be bishop rook versus knight. Both sides having 6 and 7 pawns. Okay. So the way that I tend to look at these puzzles is very obvious attacks and just figure out what your pieces are looking at. Just everything needs to needs to have a target, right? Like this bishop, can it move in a different direction? It's interesting to notice that these rooks are defending each other. These queens are attacking. This knight's defending. Those are the first things I immediately see in a position. These pawns are stable. This is all protected by my king. I do have an exposed angle over here. Things like that that I see. Okay, so let's do this thing. Boop. Not correct. The check first. Then the queen. I mean, I'm going to give that a thumbs down because I had the correct concept, but just didn't like my move order, to be completely honest. But, yeah, whatever. Same difference. As my father-in-law would say, 6 one way, half a dozen the other. So this is an interesting one. First thing you see, this rook is really, really fragile here. This is only being protected by this pawn, which can be captured by this bishop, but then it can be recaptured and redefended by this king. So, something to just keep in mind. This bishop is also defending this pawn, as is this rook. This pawn could move up, threaten this rook, and get very, very close to promotion. So he can take a move with tempo, but we can just block. And the bishop would probably then come here and force us to take, but then king is here, that's there, and then this, and that, and the other thing. So I think my first idea is going to be correct. You take the pawn, king is going to take. We know that. So how does this position now work out? Well, the trick is can we deflect the king away from the defense of this rook? Something you guys got to keep an eye out for. So if we push this pawn here, put him in check, this square is already prevented by that pawn, and this square is prevented by my king. So that means either the king has to move, or the rook has to deal with the problem. And probably will, and we'll just recapture. Then we will be up and winning. So here we go. What did I say? Start here, there, there. Man, it's like I wrote these puzzles. I'm still mad that the other one, it didn't give me a win there. But, well, what can you do? So first thing I see, I got these two defending each other. I have a check here. The king has an escape square. Second thing I notice is I'm also in a fair bit of danger with this queen and rook kind of eyeing to come down at my king. I could put a piece in the middle. I also do have an escape square, and this knight is able to come to my defense if I need it. So I'm not entirely out of options. I should be safe for the time being. It would also have a backup check here, but that rook's going to be in the way, and this pawn will be movable, but then leaving this knight undefended. So let's start with this. I take the rook, put it over here, put him in check. Great, his king moves out. Queen can drop down, put him in check. Where can he go from here? Well, this pawn can get in the middle. And then, what else can he do? He can move here or here, because the knight is blocking the other square. I believe then the knight, I can push the pawn. Yeah, and that would be checkmate. And if the pawn goes to the middle, this knight can go over here and deliver a check. Then I believe we can force our way down. Yeah, so we'll do that. Check. What? What nonsense is this? Start here? Nah. That's why. Right concept, wrong execution. He did still have an escape square if you push that pawn. That was the problem with it. So where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is number 10. 10, then we're done. Okay. Best move for white. What are we looking at here? First thing you see is you got a check that is defended by just about every piece in his position. These knights are staring at each other. So are these queens. So I have a feeling that it's gonna, just a hunch, there's gonna be a queen takes queen situation. Ah, I see it. Yeah. So the idea here is gonna be move the rook up here, put him in check. If rook recaptures, then the defender of the queen is gone. Now always watch that he can't now step out and just back rank checkmate you because I got this rook defending. That's the importance of that rook. Now, obviously he's not going to be that dumb, and he's going to put the knight in the middle, so that I have rook, knight no longer in check, king, queen is still defended. But then I also have the added option of now I can just take that rook. This rook move here. Well, that's not going to work. So what if I take the queen first? Then this rook, in recapturing my queen, will stop defending this rook, and then I can move over and take it. So there's our solution. Predicted. Nailed it. Nailed it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my first stream. I'm sure it was terrible. Let's get some more viewers, which is to say more than 0. Enjoy. Follow me on YouTube and on Twitch. I am Nursing9Lives on Twitch and Nursemikeplayschess on YouTube. So hopefully get some viewers. Thanks and bye.